Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Miss Renee Brown.
Renee is a salon owner and founder of Trachouse brand. She recently transitioned full-time to her business and left the 9-to-5 grind. And we got to have a conversation about what that was like, taking the leap of faith, and also just hearing her experience to ultimately becoming an entrepreneur and salon owner.
So without further ado, welcome to the Falling Up Podcast. We got Renee, founder of Trachouse, the brand. So many, y'all got, how many locations y'all got?
We have 2 locations.
Okay.
A cool 2.
A cool 2.
And if you guys ever wanted to come by to do the podcast there, it's a good spot.
Mm.
Like, no, in the future.
We'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
We like traveling to
Yes, come.
to the community and seeing
Come.
what's going down.
We're not too far from here because you guys are in Brantford. We're just like exit 51. This is 53. So
Yeah.
come on down.
East Haven.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of that said, I'm gonna hijack this and take over because I'm actually super interested. As Kevin said, I think when you're able to take this path where you and this is all I can do is I read kind of the bio you sent, so I'm basing it all off this. So hopefully I'm getting everything right. If not, I'm sure you'll tell me.
Yes.
But when you spend a bunch of time kind of working towards a specific career, it sounds like you had some very for lack of better terms, just like stable job paths going on. And then you had this massive passion of yours. And you were able at some point to take this leap of faith to kind of invest and put all the eggs in one basket. It sounds like, again.
At some point, it was last month.
That even better. So we're fresh into it, and we're going to get the perspective from someone who has just taken the leap of faith, which is actually amazing because, again, I think this is how I grow and get the courage to do new things, is hearing people who have done it and are actively dealing with the discomfort, because I'm sure there is, although a lot of excitement, some discomfort. But let's just take a step back. Can you kind of give us your background story and just how you got to this moment here?
Okay, so I was born in a manger. Just kidding. I was born in the Bronx, New York, and my mom moved here when I was young, like 3. So I've been in New Haven ever since then. And I've gone to New Haven public schools. I've been in New Haven programs, everything my whole life. I went to Southern Connecticut State University. And when I went there in 2006, I was the class president in my high school. So I was just felt like I was college bound. It's the thing that you're supposed to do. They push college when you're in high school. So I was supposed to go to Clark, Atlanta. My mom was moving to Atlanta at the time. And then I went down there for like a meet and greet, and then they had like none of my paperwork. I'm like, but you guys sent me this whole packet saying I was accepted here. So that was a bust. So I just came back to Connecticut. My mom moved. I stayed here. I went to Southern.
Was your heart set on going to Atlanta?
I just was going to Atlanta because my family was moving there.
So it wasn't a huge letdown.
It wasn't a letdown, but it was like, I was supposed to go there.
Sure.
Right.
And now I'm going to be at Southern, which was giving gateway to me when I was a senior in high school. So whatever the case was, I got there. My mom and my family left, and I needed money. So I was like, what can I do? What do I know how to do? So I didn't know how to do much, but I had lots of colleagues, different jobs that I did in the community. So I just started doing hair. I did it in my dorm room for a long time. And then, when one person finds out about something, then they tell somebody else, oh, this girl's charging $40 to do a sewing. Everybody was coming to the dorm. Then I moved off campus into my own apartment. People were coming to my apartment to get their hair done. So I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day when it started being like, when are you going to stop doing this? Was this just like quick money? But then there was no like, when is the end of this hair journey, because I was going to school to be an English teacher.
Was it something that you loved doing at first, or was it, hey, this is just a way to make some money?
It was just like I was going to the club on Thursday, Friday, Saturday in college. It was in my hometown. I knew everybody, so it was like to get money to go to Forever 21 and buy clothes. So it wasn't like I was passionate about it, but the passion grew, just kind of getting to know people. People were coming that were in college with me, and then now it was time for their little sisters to go to prom. So they're like, oh, you can do my little sisters here for prom. And then those people will get their college graduations, and then they would get married, and they would have a baby shower. And it's like, oh, you're my hairstylist now. So it was no like backing out of what I started doing. So then I just started to educate myself more, taking classes wherever I could fly to take different courses. But I do have my degree in English. I don't have a cosmetology license, but the styles that I practice, you don't need one. So I do more protective styles like braiding, making wigs. I make wigs for cancer patients. People can use their medical insurance to get wigs from me. So I just try to figure out a way to finesse what works for me. So I just didn't see how I was going to stop it because I made so many connections doing hair. And I think it was the people that kind of drew me to it. And the passion kind of built from just the people that would come by and the stories that they would tell. And just that whole, if you ever been to a barber shop, to give a comparison, just that vibe that you get there where this is your barber, you're not going to let him go astray. Like wherever he goes, you're going to go. You're going to follow him because he's the only person that you trust with your crown. Like that's the top of your head. This is where all your energy flows from. So you want somebody good to be around you. So it wasn't something I started off doing like a kid, like I was doing my Barbies or nothing like that. It was really, what can I do that people are going to need when you're an entrepreneur? You're a problem solver. People need their hair done to go to different events. They want to look good. You're there. Robots can't do our hair yet. I say yet because this world is pretty inventive.
Yeah, it's probably coming.
And then
Right.
essentially you just got too big to stop.
I guess.
Is that, and it's so interesting how that can take place where
It like kind of took over.
Right.
Like that wasn't my plan. My plan
Yeah.
was to let me go teach these kids in 7th and 8th grade how to read. I don't know. That's what I wanted. I thought my passion was in that. But throughout me being a hairstylist, I also worked at group homes. I worked at Clifford Bears doing like some social work stuff. Like I've done different community things with LEAP. So I am embedded in the community and invested in helping other people, and doing hair is just a different way that I can help in a different way.
what does community mean to you?
Community is just people coming together for a greater cause and kind of filling in those gaps that maybe one person can't do it today, but somebody else can do it. So I feel like as a community in New Haven, people are supportive. People want to see my business grow, and that's why you're probably hearing so many positive things about it. And they've seen me like take pictures in my room with my flat iron on my bed on a towel with a folding chair, and now to this grand space that I have acquired. So
That's dope. What does the word entrepreneurship mean to you? I know you just said problem solving, but is there anything else that come to mind?
stress.
For real.
I just think being an entrepreneur, you have to like be quick on your toes. You have to be innovative. You can't give up. If you have a problem today, just know that there is always a solution. You just got to figure out how to get to it. So it's really the hustle of it all. If you are a creative person and you're a creative thinker, I think that entrepreneurship is something that you can take a journey with.
Was that because that's dope how you started in school. Was that your first time being an entrepreneur?
I mean, when I was a kid, I like made sugar cookies and sold them outside with lemonade.
Oh, so
Because
yeah.
I was doing that. Because I was just like, how can we get money to go to the corner store to get 4 bags of chips for $1?
Damn, remember them days?
Yeah. Well, how can we do that? My mom worked a lot. I come from a Jamaican family. So she worked a lot. So she wasn't really home. So I'm the oldest of 3. I have 2 younger brothers. And I was left home with them all the time. So I'm always thinking of like, let's play school. Let's play this. Let's make cookies because the directions for sugar cookies is on the back of the domino pack of sugar. And how can we do this and make signs? And so I think I always had like a entrepreneurial, like leadership type of spirit. But that was like the first thing I ever embarked on to say, all right, I have to move out of my mom's house. Now, what can I do? Let me find a suite.
What was that time frame from starting in the dorm to opening up your first spot?
So I was doing hair, like I want to say I started in 2007. So I started college in 2006, but that was in the fall. So then that prom season of 2007 was like, oh, we have this, a friend of mine, she was the vice president in high school, I was the president. So we had this connection with our high school. Hill House and Southern are like 10 minutes away from each other.
Right.
So we were like, let's go there and let's do like a special for the high school kids to see how we can do their hair for prom. Because I was always thinking, if we do their hair for prom, then they're going to go to college, and then they're going to graduate from college, and then they're going to need their hair done for graduation. So I'm always thinking of what events they're going to need their service done for. So how to like get these lifelong clients, even though this wasn't my lifelong plan. I was always thinking of that. I forgot what question I was answering.
So like just the time frame from when you first started to
so that was in 2007 where we had like our first, like I made a flyer. We went to the schools to try to like get people. And then I opened my first space in 2014. So it was like 7 years in between. So the start of my college career, I graduated in 2011, and then I got a job. I was doing hair from home. And then I was in a relationship, and then we were getting engaged, so I had to move out of my mom's house, do that. And I didn't want to do hair at my house anymore because now I had a partner there. So I think at that point it was like trying to move from the kitchen beautician to legitimizing some space. So I was in a suite. It was like 400 square feet, and I had these 3 girls. One of them was still currently in high school. Another one was someone who was my LEAP kid, so I was her camp counselor, but she was doing hair in the projects, and I was like, just come on down, make it more professional.
Right.
I'm very coercive in that way. And the other young lady, I met her through Clifford Beers. I was working there, and her son were a part of that program. So we kind of just started like that. And I was like, all right, guys, so y'all just going to give me $50 a week, and we're going to figure it out. And it paid the rent, and that's all I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking of how to be bigger than it. Just everything kind of just happened. Like God was like, okay, Renee, this space is not big enough for you. So one of the young ladies, her name's Molly, she works with me now. She went to Paul Mitchell to get her cosmetology license because I try to encourage her, like, you're young, you know, just do it the right way. Like, I already have college loans to pay back. Right. You go and figure something out. So she went, and then when she was done, she was like, Renee, I can't do hair here anymore because it was literally an empty box. Like, it was no, do we have windows? I don't even know if we had windows, but there was no sinks. So everybody had to come with their hair already pre-washed for the braid services that we were providing. So she's like, I just learned how to do color. I just learned how to do, you know, all these amazing things. But like your salon isn't a fully functioning salon space. So I was like, you know what? I want to keep you forever. So I'm going to get somewhere so that you can go exercise your degree that you got. Your licensure that you received. So that's when we moved to Grand Avenue, and that was in 2017. I also had a baby. I got married. All that stuff happened like so fast. So
all the same time frame?
Yes.
Okay.
All this happened.
How'd you balance that?
Right.
God. That's pretty much it. But
so I need a little more than that.
I mean, it's
I
true.
need a little more than that because I think that's where the beauty of anyone's journey, right, are in those moments, right? It's like, how does one actually think of what you just said, a massive transition from
so many transitions,
right? This massive transition in multiple life domains at once is intense, and that can be enough to put, I think, anyone in the fetal position, right? So how did you, besides, because clearly you have a strong faith base, right?
Yes.
So how did you either utilize that faith base or these specific actions you took to be able to manage all of that?
So at that moment, I was working at Clifford Beers Clinic, and I was like a care coordinator. So we were going out into the community, going to people's homes, trying to prevent DCF involvement. So it was really like a free type of schedule. So I just made my schedule. I don't work there anymore, so I don't care if I'm going to get fired for what I was doing. Yeah. But essentially, I did my schedule with hair in alignment with the times I was supposed to be out in the field. So I would be out in the field, I would visit people's homes, do my job, and then I would be done at around 4 or 5 o'clock, and then I would go straight to doing hair. I wouldn't get home until 12 o'clock in the morning, then I would be back at work again the next day at 9 o'clock. So that's kind of like how my life went. And then when I got married, my husband was like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Like, you can't be at the salon 7 days a week because where's our time? So then I switched my schedule down to only Fridays and Saturdays, which was fine because the girls were paying rent and the rent was really not a lot. But again, I wasn't using hair as like it turned into not being financial. It was like more of like an obligation because it was like, all these people are looking for you to be there to do their styles. And it's kind of adjusted with the schedule. And then I had a baby, and then my landlord at the time, he was like, "You're getting too big for it in this space. I have another space for you." So then I moved from Shelton Avenue to Grand Avenue in New Haven, and that's where we were for about 5 years. And that was in, I think, 2021 when we left there because my lease was over and he didn't want to renew it. And that's how we ended up where we were right now. So it was more so trying to flex my schedule to figure out how things can work for me. So even like right now, I'm currently divorced, and my ex-husband is off of work on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So he has my daughter those days, and then I go to the salon on those days. So everything that's kind of like, I'm a planner, so I'm going to make sure that things work out for me and not difficult.
Would you say that, because that's an intense schedule, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm curious on two things. One, the motivating factor to work that much, and then two, did that play a role in the relationship ending?
I feel like it did. Just me being like a busy person and wanting to like fulfill these roles in other areas of my life and not prioritizing that relationship so much. But I've been to therapy, and I know that none of that is my fault anyway.
There you go.
So I just think that I'm a people pleasing type of person. So recently I've been getting over that to start saying no to people, but I really prioritize like Renee time and like my time. So that's why at the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, when my daughter is with me, I'm talking about currently, we have things planned. Like she goes to gymnastics, she has dance, we have mommy daughter dates. Like it's all about that. So there's no Trachouse for me at the beginning of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. So in real time, you've learned from experience
to figure out what is going to work best. And so that I had to prioritize my relationship with my daughter as my one kid. And I don't want her to think like, oh, mommy's always at work or mommy's always doing this. So as soon as she goes to school on Thursday, I go to the shop and I'm there and I'm all night and I'm figuring it out. So
yeah. And that, hearing that again, it inspires me. I'm sorry for like taking this over, Kev, but like I had therapy this morning, and like this is what you just talked about is active problem in my life, not knowing how to prioritize time. I'm try to maximize the day, but like I have a beautiful wife at home too, and I definitely don't give her the attention and time that she likely deserves. And it's like, oh well, if I don't learn how to do this, like I'm not gonna have that.
Because the clients are gonna be there, and that's what I had to learn. Like my clients are gonna be there. So when I went down from having my 7-day-a-week schedule to working until 11 o'clock at night, as long as the schedule's open, they're gonna book. When the schedule's closed, they cannot book. So once you make the conscious choice to say, on Tuesdays is the day I'm going to take my wife out, and that's where we're going to have our date night, and that's what we're going to do, whatever, and then you stick to that. So, like, nothing can interrupt what I have going. What's today?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. So my daughter is, like, really upset that I'm not there. But we just went to New York. I brought her to see The Lion King on Broadway. Like, we had this, like, wonderful, like, weekend.
I heard that was good, too.
It's so good. I watched it, like, 10 times.
Nice.
It's, like, my favorite play. But that was our time, at the beginning of the week. And then tomorrow, she's going to go back to school. We'll be back on the regular scheduled program.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And that brings me, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this in real time, but during those times where you're working, I don't know what the number is, we'll say like 18 hours a day or what, it seems like probably the only other thing you had time to do was sleep. What was the motivating factor? Was it, hey, I'm like endlessly working towards this bigger picture goal, or this is just what I do?
I feel like it's just what I do, but I don't work long hours like I used to. Like before, I really used to be in the shop and leaving at like 2 o'clock in the morning counting money like a drug dealer. Now I don't do that. Like I am done at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
That's it.
That's it. And if I have a client who's like a loyal client, like, or they're going on vacation tomorrow and they get off work at 5, I don't have a problem with, I'll stay late for you now, but my schedule is not open. It's for me at my discretion to say I can take you to come at 5 or you can come at 5:30. But my schedule is open from 8 a.m. to 4. And whoever gets first, gets first.
So I want to take a little step back to the no, because one thing I like about this podcast, it's like when we talk to people, it's like therapeutic for us. So I know this moment was for you, and for me was saying no.
Yeah,
I think I'm a people pleaser, and I've done stuff that like turned my life upside down because I couldn't say no. Like give us some more of that, like, detail on that journey for you.
So my therapist, she's great, and she said, Renee, why are you suffering? And I was like, what? She was like, you suffer every day because you put people before you. And she said, every time someone asks you to do something, say, is Renee suffering? And I ask myself that 100 times a day to say, am I suffering if I do this? Because suffering sounds real bad.
Right.
But because we're so used to saying yes to everyone and making it work out for them, we don't see how we're truly suffering in a situation. Like if someone asks me, oh, Renee, can you do my website over? Of course I can. It's going to take me about a day to tweak your website to how you might like it. It's nothing for me, but how is that going to take away from time with my daughter? Or how is that going to take away from something else I already have planned? And if I didn't have anything to do, what was I going to do in that time? Was I going to watch Netflix and chill? Like, what was I going to do? So how am I suffering if someone asks me to do something that's interrupting my day? So that's how I learned to say, I'm unable to do that for you right now, or maybe I could do it next week. And I really am in control of my calendar. And if I can do something, like it's going to take me 5 minutes to like make somebody an Instagram post, I don't have a problem with that. I could do it real quick by say to them, this is actually my off time, but I'm doing it for you right now. Or I wrote on Facebook one time, if you want me to do something for you real quick, hit me in the morning. Because usually I'm laying in bed from like 5 to like 8. Hit me in the morning. And then, Renee, could you make me I was like, oh, wait.
It was banging at 6 in the morning.
So I don't do that anymore. But you just have to like value your time and have self-respect for you and what works for you. Because like something that's easy to me is easy for me, but it might not be easy for you, but it's going to take a toll on me if I do too much easy stuff for all of y'all.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I also think it's a practice thing, right? Like, I'm very similar to both of you, right? And like my natural instinct is to want to. I'm going to take a step back. A lot of times I don't want to do the shit that I do. I just don't want to say no. Yeah. Right?
But if you say no, are they going to not talk to you anymore? Are they going to be upset? Or are they going to find somebody else to do it?
And that's the reality, right?
Because people are going to figure it out when you're not available. And I had to learn I thought people needed me. I thought I was a superhuman.
That's right.
And they don't really need me for real. They just know that I'm going to say yes.
But the only way you figure that out is by actually saying no. And by dealing with the discomfort.
You got to start saying, you better get a shirt that say hell no on it.
but that's it, right? That really, and those reminders, I think, are so important. I knew I had a problem when I think it's greater than just saying no. It's like giving feedback to people or feeling like you have a voice and the ability to say what you want. I had a friend that came over and he cooked himself some sort of meal, and I had just like one of like the regular pans, and he was like using a metal spatula, and I wanted to be like, dude, like you're gonna fuck my pan. I'm like, don't do that.
Like don't do it on the Teflon.
This inner voice was like, oh no, you can't say that. But
it's your pan, and how are you suffering, Ben?
But that was it.
Word.
And in that moment, that was the moment that started to actually kind of change my life and how I became more assertive, because I was able to in real time realize how absurd this situation is. It's so as trivial as a pan and a spatula.
Because it's your pan.
But I felt so uncomfortable in that moment, which was a bizarre thing to think about.
But it was that small thing to realize that why should you allow him to fuck your pan up?
That's it.
And then when he leaves, you're still gonna be with this scraped up ass pan.
Yeah, and it made what I told him. He's like, "Oh yeah, of course." Like I didn't even think about it.
And it wasn't even anything, but you were making such a big deal
That's it.
in your head when people don't even think twice about the things that they do, but we don't say anything. So, and like I feel like you really have a problem with this. You do have a problem with this, so you need to say something. Right. So really like internal conversations.
Yeah, but it's only
yourself.
through that actual practicing it and getting the response and realizing, wait a minute,
it wasn't
what my
that
mind,
serious.
That's it. And what my mind said and what the reality was were so different, like so different.
I think it's something to work on every day.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, it's crazy. I just had a conversation with my boy Nate, and we were talking, and he was like, sometimes you gotta tell a person no just to see how they react. Just to see where you know, like, what is their real intentions? Because, like, the person with the pan, oh, damn, my bad. Or you got the person like, what you mean? I could do that.
Like, it's just a pan. I had this same pan at home. I do this all the time. Get
Like,
out, sir.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Go cook that in the backyard.
Right.
We got some wood and a fire pit back there. Yeah, I mean, but no, that's that no. Like, I think for a lot of people, saying no, well, for selfless people, I should say, for selfless people, people of service, saying you're so used to helping that saying no feel like you're doing something wrong. But
yeah, I also think it can be like an esteem thing for sure, like an esteem and because like I know for me, I genuinely do love helping, but I don't love helping all the time. Like, I wish there's many times that I've helped when I did not want to. And did I feel good at the end of doing it? More times than not, yes. But there was definitely times that, like you said,
I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that, for me, wasn't I love helping, I'm this selfless person. It was like, I have no self-esteem and like, conviction
are
in
they
being
gonna
able to say
hate
no,
me
you know?
if I don't help them?
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
But that's it. And, like, it took me, again, practicing, like, consciously putting energy into it, talking about it with the important people in my life to be like, yo, hold me accountable because I do this shit all the time. And like, I still only give myself like a C+ at being assertive, but it's better than a D-. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And your favorite word, awareness. You're aware now, so you can see the shit coming, and you could, have a better plan of action, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Damn, that's deep. No is a motherfucker.
I mean, no.
Right.
So you mentioned one of your greatest passions is helping women and girls kind of find their passion, find their purpose. Mm-hmm. Who did that for you?
Maybe nobody did that for me, and that's why I like to do it for other people. So I like to tell people this story of when I was in 4th grade, because I remember it very vividly. I was in 4th grade, and I went to school in West Haven. And I loved my art teacher so much. I can't remember her name, but she was just like making us do all this stuff I thought was amazing. Like, you ever did that project where you color like a whole bunch of colors underneath and then you cover it with black paint and then you scratch it? You ever did that?
No.
Well, she was just so innovative to me and I loved it. So every time we went to art, it was just always this amazing thing. So I went home and I was like to my Jamaican mother, Mom, I want to be an art teacher. And she told me that I was going to die of starvation and that I wasn't going to have any money and that being an artist is not a smart thing and teachers don't get money and they just do it because they like it, not because they want to be rich or not because they want to have a good life.
Caribbean mother.
And I was like,
Caribbean mother. I know so well.
Damn, I can't be an art teacher.
Yeah.
I can't be an art teacher. And not saying my mom was trying to like kill my dream or anything like that, but she was just being like a realist. Because teachers literally don't get no money.
Yeah, no, that's real. Yeah.
It's not a lie. So as I got older, I was like, what can I do? So I was like, I'm going to go. I was in high school. I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. My mom's a nurse. So then I did an internship at Hill House at Yale University, at Yale Hospital. And I hated it. I was like, who wants to do this? Who wants to see people dying and suffering all day? Not me. So I did that. I didn't like it. So then I was like, I'm going to be an English teacher because I liked poetry and I liked, just writing and things like that. So I was like, and then there's still kids there so I could still help them. Because I was like, I'm going to be a pediatric nurse. But then I don't want to see the kids like about to die. That's sad. I'm too of a like bubbly person for that. So I was like, I'm going to be a teacher. Then I worked at a group home and I was like, these kids are going to be at the school? No, I can't do that. So I decided against that. So then now I worked at LEAP. It's like an after school program literacy type of situation. And there was a group of girls and they were 11 and 12 and they like changed my life. Like they were just like coming from all these different backgrounds and they embraced me so much and taught me so much about like their lives and how they were like so resilient and things and just having all these dreams but feeling limited. Like they couldn't do things and just helping them to realize that they can be amazing. Even if I didn't believe that about myself, just instilling it in somebody else for like, oh, well, somebody's going to make it. One of us, right? Mm-hmm. So then now, fast forward to now, I have lots of young ladies inside of my salon who came from not the best backgrounds or unfortunate situations, and nobody graduated from high school, nobody ever had like a career, nobody has driver's license, things like that. So for them to like surpass like the caps that were put on their lives, I feel like that's amazing. And then I'm doing art right now. All I do is my Instagram post and just creating and curating all this beautiful culture within the track house and outside of that. So I'm still an art teacher
That's
at the end of
dope.
the day.
Yeah.
So on that note of the present, unless you got something loaded up.
What, question?
Yeah, I don't know. You looked like you were about to say something. I don't want to cut you off.
I do. I have a question. It's not not random, but I have a question that's been itching, and I got to ask you this question now for our listeners, because we have a mixed demographic of African American, Caribbean, Caucasian, everything, right?
Good. That's good.
Yeah. And I was at this retreat, and, you know, mother black, sister black, I'm black, brother black, everybody black, you know what I mean? Haitian, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was at this retreat, and I want you to speak on this, because I thought that this topic needs to be addressed.
Okay.
I'm at this retreat. The retreat, I don't want to say the retreat, but you know the retreat I'm talking about. So I'm at this retreat, and I'm sitting at the table with Black excellence. It's all executive leaders at this table.
Love that.
Beautiful, right? All in the nonprofit sector, right? And I'm sitting at this table, and it's our last day of the retreat, and a new retreat is coming in. And we're in the lunchroom, and we're having lunch. And this white woman that no one knows walks up to one of the sisters there at the table and grabs her hair and said, "Oh, this is so beautiful." And the look that not just her, but because it was like mostly women and like it was 3 brothers and mostly women at the table. The look that all the women gave her was like, no, she didn't grab this hair.
This was a random person or someone who was part of the retreat the whole
Random
time?
person. We don't know her. She's
Never...
We don't know her. So I told my mother, and my mother and another person, and they both said the same thing of how common that is for Caucasians to do that with hair, with black women hair. So I was just like, wow, I don't know if they even aware, you know what I'm saying, of what they're actually doing. Even so their intent is, oh, hey, oh my God, it's beautiful. They grab this hair. So I want to know if you have ever had that experience, or if you know someone that have had that experience, and what advice that we should let our audience know. Because that's been burning at me, because I really I thought that was crazy disrespectful. I just thought that was wild.
It's so disrespectful. And I think in my small bubble, in 2023, everybody should know that that's something that you should not do. Mm-hmm. But a lot of
She was older, much older.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people are unaware that that's just not something that you do. Like, you don't just go up to somebody and say, "Oh my God, look at your nose. Let me touch your nose." I feel like this is invading personal space. I feel like I'm not a spectacle. Even though you're giving me a compliment, I'm not like a piece of a thing. Like, I'm a human being, and you're not just going to come up to me and touch my hair. Like, it's so crazy. So it's never happened to me. Like, I've had, I worked in higher education. I worked at Quinnipiac University Medical School for 5 years. And
Nickel.
Yes. I worked there for a while, and I had a coworker. He was a Caucasian man. He was Jewish, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I think he was an Orthodox Jew, where his wife had to wear a wig to cover her hair. So he would always come up to me and say, "Oh, Renee, your hair is so nice. I want my wife to get more wigs so that she can like switch it up." And like, I'm like, "Sir, please, I don't want to talk about that. Like, there's so many other things that we can talk about that
sounds kinky."
It did, right? And it was given like sexual harassment lawsuit or something. But I just felt like it was an opportunity for me to educate him on why that's not it's inappropriate, but why I feel a certain type of way about it. Like, don't come up to me talking about wigs when, I'm educated. There's other things. You talk to people in the office about so many other things.
Right.
Let's talk about American Idol. Let's talk about something else that's not what you think because I'm black, a black woman that we can talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I would imagine it would be very different if you had a meaningful relationship with this person and you guys had common interests and you guys had an established relationship.
He was just like, he always came, oh, Renee, your hair's red today. And I said, yep, and tomorrow it's going to be blue. Now I got to be sarcastic with you because you're not getting it. So then one day I just had to let him know, this is really making me uncomfortable. Please do not talk to me about my hair anymore. I don't want to talk about that. Please don't talk to me. And then he never talked to me again. It's 3 years ago.
Oh, where?
Yeah.
His loss.
So I just think that people in the audience, don't do anything to anyone that you wouldn't want to be done to yourself. Mm-hmm. We learned that in kindergarten. Treat other people how you want to be treated. I'm not going to come up to you saying, let me touch your glasses.
Yeah, no, I like the glasses, the nose example.
Because it's you have to take the context out of it just being hair. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
anything.
right.
These are
don't
also,
walk up to people and do that.
These are also very fundamental social skills.
That's what I'm
right?
saying. But why do you think that is okay? Would you go up to anyone else and say, invade them in that way?
Yeah, so common, but I think it's much deeper. I think it's deep on a lot of fronts because a white woman want to do that to another white woman with beautiful hair.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? They're doing it to the black woman, and I didn't realize how common it was. So I talked to my mother. She was like, "Yo, because my mother,
spectacle."
Yeah, my mother's a maid in Hilton, New York, in Manhattan for 34 years. You know what I'm saying? And when I told her that, she said, "Oh, you can imagine how much times they did that to me."
And it's so sad, just doing people's hair and them saying, "Oh God, I'm dreading going to work tomorrow because they're gonna say, oh, you got color in your hair, oh, you got this," and I'm just like, I know you have to deal with this when you go to work tomorrow, but just try to embrace why you got it. But just just unnecessary conversations. Oh well, I have one client. She's a really successful celebrity divorce lawyer in New York, and she just asked me to make her 3 wigs, all of the same length, different. She wants one with a side part, one with a center part, one that's wavy, so that she can appear that it's her real hair because she doesn't want to make too many changes to disrupt the office. I'm like, girl, if I can't make you a long one, a short one, and why do we have to do this to make other people comfortable? But she's like, because I don't want to feel uncomfortable in this space. So now, $2,000 later, she's making me make the same wig 3 times.
Right.
Do you think it's generational?
I think that older people don't understand, but there are some younger people who will try it.
Yeah.
I don't mean young 20. I mean young 40.
Yeah.
That'll be oh my God, or just even the comments. Oh, you're so pretty for a black girl.
Yeah, right.
I wish
Susan,
and I say this in a very like loose way, but I truly wish that I could just be in their brains for like
just a second, like the
minutes.
moment that they
Right,
decide,
like,
should I walk up to somebody and do this? Or
because it has to seem like, think about it, like when you have so much confidence doing something like that, has to be their thought process.
Audacity.
There. Like, yeah, that's right. But like, where does that come from, and why? I think
that it's a I don't know if you guys watched that movie on Netflix with Lauren London and Jonah.
I did.
Did you watch it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
What is it called? Us?
Yes.
You people?
Yes.
Yeah.
You people. So
very good movie.
Yes, and that happened in there. Wasn't there an example of that?
Example
or like
of that, and she was like,
with the mom.
The mom was funny. She was my favorite character.
She was though. The whole movie was hilarious.
But her saying, Lauren London saying, I am not a piece of artwork. Don't think that you can just play with me. I'm not a toy.
Right.
So I think it's dehumanizing a little bit to feel this is not a real person. So I can just walk up to them and twiddle my, do whatever. So I think that it's really, like you're saying, deeper than just, oh, your hair is nice, I want to touch it. Because I see plenty of Caucasian women with beautiful curly hair. I'm fascinated with the big curls and how they embrace that, and everything's not so straight and uniformed all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, your hair is amazing, and that's the end of the compliment. I'm like, can I touch your hair? Can I see how soft it is? Or does it look like a cloud? Can I touch it? I'm not gonna do that. I have boundaries. Let me recognize you're beautiful. Your hair is amazing. Is that your natural hair color? Like, there's so many conversations that you can have that doesn't involve physical space. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
Definitely.
It
So
seems
instead
very
of touching,
intuitive.
instead of touching, let's compliment and keep it pushing.
That's it.
That's the advice I have for the audience. Compliment, keep it pushing.
That's it. And it will be received. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
The last thing I'll say, kind of briefly on that topic. Have you paid attention to kind of the stuff that Jonah Hill has been putting out? Because I don't know if that was if he wrote that or what his role was, but he put out a documentary on Netflix with his therapist. I don't know if you guys have heard or seen that, but I think it's called Stutz. I would highly recommend watching that because it's really, really powerful, and I think it's very impactful.
I'm gonna watch that in my me time when I'm telling people no, I can't do stuff for them.
I like it. Yeah,
there we go.
I just wanted to float that out because I think both of those recent things that he was involved with were really. I thought that movie was super impactful and just like really well done.
I didn't think they had good chemistry though. But
Definitely.
I didn't think they did.
Who, Lauren and Jonah?
No,
not at all.
It was terrible. But the concept of the movie,
that's what I mean.
it was well written.
The message was
it was.
They're all real shit.
Yeah, for sure.
That's real.
Now,
both. You know what I'm saying? Both sides.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I can't say some people didn't like it, but I just feel like she looks so sad all the time. Like she has this never-ending sadness because of the loss that she endured.
Yeah.
So I think I can't get past the fact that she looks so sad, even when she's not trying to look sad.
They even I know they said that they merged, like they did some screen, like sci-fi when they post a kiss at the end. That's like they're not really kissing. There's some sci-fi shit or whatever.
It just didn't give like even I don't know. It just didn't seem.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know. Whatever.
That's a tough.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the messaging is important, and I could see why it would make people. The initial reaction could be uncomfortable or like that because it goes against the ideal world that we try to present, and it touches on the practical world that we live in. And when we can have practical conversations, we can actually move forward. When we just talk about ideals, we stay stuck forever because it's never going to be ideal.
Right. And I have a lot of clients who it was like a moment in time, I want to say last year, when I was getting a whole host of clients and they all had like white husbands. And I was like, every time someone would come in the shop and we would talk, and then their husband would end up being like Caucasian. And then they're like, Renee, you're 2 for 2, 4 for 4, 5 for 5. And I'm just like, what is going on? And they're like, you should have a white husband. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it because, it's got to be something in the water. What's going on? So I don't think their relationship was unrealistic. It just didn't seem like they had chemistry like as two actors in the movie.
No, I know what you was hitting on because like the loss, the Nipsey and,
It was sad.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you was talking about. Yeah, for sure.
So coming back to you, when did you realize, and I think if we rewind the tape back past right before that question, you started talking about how you were reflecting back on speaking with these younger girls and then being able to track them kind of through the present, right? And seeing what they were able to flourish and become and overcome, right?
Yeah.
For you, in the present, right, recently going all in on your businesses, right? When did you know it was time to give up the 9-to-5?
I still don't know right now. I just did it.
Well,
I understand. So I always thought about it, and having my mom's Jamaican voice in the back of my head. What if you have a slow season? What if what if people don't come? What if they don't book appointments? Where are you going to get health insurance? Where, just all these very realistic questions. And it was a point where I actually got a promotion at my job in September that just passed. They got a new Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which the medical school most definitely needed. But they just kind of like, oh, we're going to put you here. And I was like, well, if y'all going to put me here and have me do like a whole new job description in addition to what I already do, y'all got to give me some more money. So they were like, well, we don't really know if you're going to, like, what you're going to really be doing yet. So we can't give you all the money that you're asking for. I was asking for like 10 grand more, which is, they got it. It's going to be at, right? And they were like, oh, we can give you some now, and then we'll give you some more in January after, we reevaluate, what you're, like, checking, whatever. So I was cool with it. But then since September to, I want to say November, every Wednesday that I had a team meeting with, and it was a small team, it was like 3 of us. Every Wednesday after our meeting, I would cry. Like, I would be in my office, like, feeling super overwhelmed by the task of the diversity, equity, inclusion office in that space and the things that the students were demanding and what they wanted. And it wasn't just like race, like it was like, religion, it was like sexual orientation. It was so many things and things that they wanted to be done. And it's like to have an inception of an office like that, like the burden, not the burden, but the requirement, what we had to do was great. And I already knew what my path was with my business. So I knew that I couldn't give them 100% of what they were asking of me. So I felt overwhelmed every week. And I was like on two a week with my therapist ever since I got promoted. So I have like a really great relationship with my boss. Like really great. Like he's like amazing. Like he's my friend. Like we share a godchild. Like that's my guy. And it was so hard for me. And I prayed and I was like, God, when I feel comfortable having this conversation with my boss that I have to go and not feel like super emotional or like overwhelmed about it, then that means that it's time. So when God gives you like that peace about something, that's when it's time to move forward. So after one of our meetings, I was like, I ain't gonna be here for too long. And he was like, what do you mean? So then he was like in a panic because he's like mad dramatic, like more dramatic than me. And I was like, I have to go. Like, I can't stay here anymore. Like, it's like effing with my mental health. And like, I want to give all I can to this job, but in the role that I was before. So before I was going to high schools and middle schools, elementary schools, and being the liaison with our medical students, telling them, the students, of how to become a doctor, doing like projects and experiments and science, STEM-based things with them, and showing them that, the only doctors are out there they're not Caucasian men. Like there are more, it's really there's diverse options here. So like you make this a path that you might want to go on. So then it turned into me doing that plus the DEI stuff. So all of that together was too much. And then they was trying to give me the money. And I was like, nah. And I only was in the office 3 days a week, and I did remote 2 days a week. My 2 days a week remote were Thursday and Friday, which I was at the salon. At the salon on those days. So I think once I got that piece about the whole situation, was like, I feel comfortable. He's going to figure it out, because that whole conversation with, well, who's going to help him if I can't do this? And who's going to do that? And who's going to take care of this? And who's going to... I was like so concerned with who's going to fill my shoes when I leave. But who was filling the shoes before you got there, Renee? They're going to figure it out. So once I had that peace of mind, and he's figuring it out, because he was calling me every week after I quit to do something. But he hasn't called me in like 2 weeks in like work related things. So I put my 2 week, my notice in November 13th, saying that I was going to be leaving on January 13th. So my last day was January 13th. And since I quit, I had a trip to Morocco planned, because everything's not going to go our way. This is not our way. This is God's way only. Mm-hmm. So I had a trip to Morocco planned, like, I'm going to celebrate not working. I've been working for the man for 20 years. I have to be an entrepreneur full time. I had a trip planned. And then the night before my trip, one of my nail techs called me and quit. My daughter was sick and throwing up, so I canceled my trip and I didn't go to Africa. And then 2 weeks after that, another stylist quit. And then December 31st, another stylist quit as well. I gained a stylist in, that time frame, but it's not going how I planned it to go. And January is not slow, but, people just spent money from the holidays. So January was very rough. But I planned, every year I planned for January. But without me having like my regular income coming in, it was, it was hard. Mm-hmm. But this is what I asked for. But I know that God always gets me out of tough situations, and he wouldn't have given me the peace that I had to leave, or feeling comfortable about they're going to figure it out. And as they will, and as I will. Yeah,
and imagine if you were still at the job and you had all the stress of that job and then had all that on your plate. Right. Like,
so it's really about perspective and like how you think about, well, what is this? Because the revenue, I always use it as a cushion to fall back on, but now there is no cushion. Like, it's concrete.
How do you
there.
switch your perspective? What is a way to do that?
So I just try to think of, well, what is God trying to show me? Because he doesn't have a negative plan for me or for my life. So someone quit, and I'm just like, okay, so, well, what was she contributing to the salon financially? What was she contributing to the salon? Just the environment, emotionally, who was she bringing here? And when I started thinking of that, it was a lot of con. So I was like, maybe she wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. And then make room for something new.
So it's this, my go-to is this, having this very strong faith, which allows me to almost recenter and get in this place where now I can start looking at things more objectively versus on pure emotion or fear.
Yes.
And then from there, I always see,
because you're gonna be scared.
The path that's laid out.
You're a human being. Like, you're gonna have fear. You're gonna have worry. You're gonna have doubt. You're gonna have all those things. Like, that's not something that's not gonna cross my mind. Like, I definitely have a pimple right now because I was stressed out about that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a human being, so it takes time to like sit back and say, all right, Renee, so she's gone. So what is the game plan? Because you can't change what already happened. Like, that shit already happened.
Right.
So what can you do moving forward? What's the game plan? The game plan is to bring my ass down to Paul Mitchell, see who the new graduates are about to be, and try to scout them because I have to fill her position. That is the game plan. Because I can't worry about what didn't work. I have to figure out what's going to work. Entrepreneur, solve problems. That's it.
So if you were to give advice to someone who may be experiencing a similar situation to what you just went through, where it's, hey, I'm working this 9 to 5, I have my side hustle, my passion, my hobby, whatever you want to call it, and I'm right on like this cusp of taking that leap of faith versus playing it safe. What advice would you give them?
I would say make sure that you're not worrying about all your ducks being in a row. Because ain't no ducks ever been in a row. So things are going to happen, and they might not feel like they're in your favor, but everything happens for a reason. So if you're really trying to figure out, I would say save your money, because rainy days are going to come. So I worked my 9 to 5 while I did my business the whole time, like the entire time. And I made it work, and I made it happen for myself. But I worked my 9 to 5. I gave them 100%. And then I came to Trachouse, and I gave Trachouse 150%. So you can't half-ass your business because you have a job. And if you feel like, oh, I can't do my business at full capacity because I have my job, then you're not ready yet. Because you should be able to do your business at full capacity with whatever adversity you have in the way. So I feel like once you're able to figure out how you can do your job and do your 9 to 5, then you can leave your 9 to 5. Because now everything else is something that you can, I can handle that. Because you've handled a lot. And make sure you're doing the right like projections to make sure you're gonna have the money. Because you need money to like persevere. Like,
yeah, money's important.
My 9 to 5 paid for my rent at my salon the whole time it was COVID because we weren't open.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have that, then what would I have done?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like some cushion there. Now that when there's no cushion, if there's COVID again right now, will Trachouse be able to survive?
Knowing you for
I'm pretty sure it'll be
the
fine.
hour I've known you, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It'll be all right.
I'm pretty sure you can find a way. Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah. So be a problem. Are you a problem solver? Because problems are going to come. Like, it's not like I always compare entrepreneurship to being a renter. So when you rent an apartment in like a 9 to 5, you rent an apartment, if the toilet breaks, you could call your landlord and say, can you send somebody to come fix the toilet? But when you're a homeowner, you got to fix your own toilet.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
There's definitely, I could say, having rented and worked a 9 to 5, there are some great luxuries to that.
Absolutely. Oh, you don't want to work this week? You got COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to pay you.
Yeah.
I got to pay you.
And you don't got to come.
The Outer Banks always feels a little better when it's on someone else's dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I know I'm cashing that paycheck in the back, sitting on a beach, it's like, oh, that feels nice. Now it's like, I'm not making any money this week, but it's all good. It's worth it.
That's real, yeah.
You know?
Because last year's,
You know? So, but I think these are the things is like there's, and what I hear you saying loud and clear is like there's never a right time and there's always a trade-off, but based on perspective, you can win, right? Meaning that if you're able to shift your perspective in whatever situation you decide you're going to be in, what can truly go wrong, right? Because there is always a way for it.
There's always a way. Because even, I'm not sure how much time we have, but when I was leaving my old salon space in 2021 and trying to basically getting kicked out, trying to find a new space, it was a lot of no's. Like, people were like, oh, your credit isn't where it's supposed to be. You don't have the capital to do what you need here. This needs a lot of renovations. And it was like, no. But it was like the best learning experience for me. I went through a state of depression, just trying to figure out the responsibility of, wow, I have 15 girls working for me. So if I close my doors right now, where are they going to go? So just thinking of, well, God didn't make me get that space because that space wasn't going to be big enough for us. He didn't let me get this space because he knew that in the wintertime, they don't plow this fucking driveway. Right. He knew, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was really me just like trying to like figure out like, why isn't this working? Why am I applying for this loan and it's not going through? Well, Renee, the $10,000 loan didn't go through because God said you need $100,000. So he wanted you to wait to get your credit together. So when you went back to the bank, you can get a line of credit and a loan and a grant. So it's all about being patient and recognizing like what's not for you, you ain't going to get. But what is for you, you will get.
Yeah.
Faith.
Yep.
On that note,
faith.
Where can people find you? Social media, your businesses, how can people get in touch with you? So y'all can call me at 203. Just kidding, it's a joke. But you guys can find me on Instagram at Trachouse, TRACHOUSE, www.thetrachouse.com, Twitter, Trachouse Beauty. I'm not really on Twitter like that, but I'm trying. Facebook, Trachouse, and at 39 Frontage Road in East Haven, Connecticut. That's our headquarters over there. That's where you'll find me at. There. Well, Renee, it has been absolute.
Wait, 1 second.
Oh, right. Kevin has one more.
Yes. Can you please let us know, or let the world know about the annual toiletry drive?
Thank you. Oh, yes. So next month, March, is Women's History Month. So every year we have a toiletry drive where we're accepting all types of toiletries, because when people get food stamps and things like that, you can't buy pads, tampons, things like that you might need. So socks, panties, whatever you could think of that is a necessity. We're all women in different circumstances. So whatever you can bring in to donate, we have an Amazon link. I'll send it to you guys. You guys can share wherever. Mm-hmm. If you're unable to come down to the salon, which we would love to have you, you can just click and send it straight to us. So that'll be next month of March.
So the whole month of March we could come in and donate?
Okay. The whole month.
All right.
Thanks for bringing that up, Kev.
Yeah, I love that.
We that's forgot. Important.
Yeah. No, that's a dope drive.
I was making the flyer last night.
Please send that our way.
Yes. Yeah, we'll share that.
Absolutely.
Share that.
Yes, the toiletry drive.
Yeah, that's dope.
Anyway, it was truly a pleasure to be able to spend this time with you.
Yes, thank you. And I didn't cough at all.
You didn't. You crushed it.
Won't he do it?
You crushed it. No coughing. It was good.
Won't he do it?
And we're coming to your spot to record the next one.
For sure. I saw a bunch of people there that have stories that are way better than mine. So
I don't know about that.
Come on down.
Different. I don't know about better.
Agreed.
With that, thank you everybody for tuning in.
The Falling Up Podcast.
Yay.